As people of color, we usually become all too familiar with a host of stereotypes and misperceptions that are associated with people who look like us. And if we find ourselves as one of, if not the only, person of color on a dev team, it usually means taking on a bunch of conversations that are not indicated on our job description or our compensation. This is an experience you've had, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So what's a way around this? A sensitivity consultant. These are people who are specifically brought into the project, take a look across the scope, see some ways that you might be able to address blind spots, and hopefully create a game that lets you avoid some of the yikes that we see on social media and that we just experience personally. Our next speakers are sensitivity consultants, coming from a range of backgrounds and experiences in both analog and digital games, as well as other forms of media as well. They're here to talk about some of the work that they've done, some of the ways that you can get involved with sensitivity consultants, and will hopefully help us all avoid the yikes in the future. Please welcome to the stage Basil Wright, Helen Gould, Leona Neelam Maple, and Cassandra Walker.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our panel. I'm so excited to be here with everyone today. Every time be able to talk about sensitivity consulting is such a treat. So we're just going to quickly introduce ourselves. Hi, everyone. My name is Basil. I'm a sensitivity consultant, game designer, and translator. I've done consulting for a number of clients and places. And it's just been a really enriching experience. And I will let our other panelists, as I will be moderating today, I will let our other panelists introduce themselves. Helen?
Hi, my name is Helen Gould. I go by any and all pronouns, and I've been a sensitivity consultant since about 2017. I started out doing tabletop games and then branched out into fiction, non-fiction, video games, podcasts. I think any kind of creative media can you can apply sensitivity reading to it. But yeah, really happy to be here. It is a drastically different time for me than it is for everyone else, but I think that's in my favor because I think it's very early in the morning for some other people, maybe.
Cassandra, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi, I'm Cassandra, also Cassie. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a licensed mental health professional, a writer, a consultant, and a lot of other things. And I've consulted for not just games and creative media, but also some nonfiction as well. So sensitivity consulting really can be used across the board and is a lot of times needed across the board because I've seen some pretty gnarly textbooks.
All right, and that leaves me to bring up the rear. Hello, everybody. My name is Leona Neelam Maple. You can find me all over the internet at the Leona Maple. I use she, her pronouns. I am the founder and sensitivity consultant at Maple Intersectionality Consulting. I also founded a little community for sensitivity readers called Sensitivity Readers United, which is also how we all found each other for this panel. I'm just very thankful to be here. And yes, you can sensitivity read anything, believe it or not. I've also worked on games, but truly anything can be sensitivity read.
Yes.
Yes, if it's been created by a person and not a horrifying machine, then it can be sensitivity read.
And even then, machines are programmed by humans.
And if it's been created by a machine, it probably needs to just be thrown in the trash, written by a person, and then read.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just had a moment of, would I sensitivity read that? Would I even dare? Just a moment of like existential horror at having to think about that. No, throw it in the trash, get a human to write it, then call me instead. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I would very Britishly and politely say go away, thank you, bye.
Well, if they're having AI write it, then what makes them think they have the money to hire me?
Very good.
There's that.
That is That is an excellent point. And I'm also realizing I forgot to mention my own pronouns, which are he, they, z, which you can use any of them, all of them. Just, just sprinkle them around.
Yeah.
Pronouns, they're fun. So for our first question, I'm going to pose this to you, Leona. What is a sensitivity consultant?
A sensitivity consultant is a magical unicorn. No, a sensitivity consultant. Sorry, I had to. Coming in swinging. No, a sensitivity consultant, very, very seriously, is someone. We go by a couple different names. Sensitivity consultant. I've heard a couple of other different forms of terminology. Sometimes a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant, a sensitivity reader, various different forms. But they all do the same thing, which is they look at your work and they look at it through a lens that you may not have considered. We are looking at things like what have you got on the page? How does it land? What is there anything in there that is, unfortunate or untowards? Where are some areas that you need support? Sometimes there's things that when you're working on whatever it is you're working on, but in this case we're talking about games, so specifically games that you maybe didn't consider, or maybe you're dealing with a difficult subject, or maybe you're dealing with a culture that's not your own normally. For all of these reasons and more, a sensitivity consultant is your best friend to help guide you through all of that as a part of your production process.
Yeah. I think also with games, because the narrative, like writing a narrative for a video game is so complex because you have to have all these branches, it's useful to have a sensitivity reader to look at things like character arcs, look at what the themes and messages are that are being communicated, and if they are the themes and messages that you want to communicate. Because very often feedback that I offer is along the lines of, I'm not sure if you realize this, but this could come across as X. So yeah. So I think that's definitely part of it as well, thinking about the nuances of what you've made character-wise, world-building-wise, thematically.
Yeah, and just you can hire a sensitivity consultant at various stages. And so having someone come in at the end and being like, actually, you need to start over doesn't feel great. And so what we're not is supposed to be the party pooper. So like it really helps to bring us in earlier, because a lot of times, especially folks who care about diversity and things, they will, pick a race or what have you and forget that having a certain racialization, nationality, religion, disability, etc., is going to read different than a, white, abled, cisgender person would. Yeah. And so, yeah, I definitely have read circumstances where the person was like, oh yeah, this character's black. And I'm like, did you write this for a black character? Because right now this is giving some stereotypes I don't think you wanted to give.
Or just characters that don't even resonate with the culture that they're supposed to be. Oh, this is a South Asian character. Okay, what makes them South Asian? What?
Yes.
Did you just mention poppadoms? Is that it? Like, what are we doing here? And it's just, God bless people. They try so hard, but sometimes it happens, and you don't even mean to. And we get that. A lot of our clients don't come into this with that intention. I often tell people, I am not your rubber stamp. I'm not here to just like stamp of approval. At the same time, if you are in a situation where you have to bring in a sensitivity reader at the end as their last bastion before you hit publish, we can do it. We don't want to do it. We can do it. We can support you like that, but it's preferred if you bring us in early. I just wanted to throw that in there. Go ahead, Helen.
I was just going to say you need to leave enough time, because you have that situation of if you're writing about someone who's from a different background, who has different experiences to you, then you don't know what you don't know. And so it's very possible that if you do leave a sensitivity read until the end, it's possible for us to come back and say, actually, this entire character arc reflects a little weirdly, or is quite stereotypical. Maybe you could do this or that. And then you've got like 2 weeks until you're publishing it and there's no time. Or you have to delay the thing because you want to make sure that it's portrayed the way you want.
And even if you are writing characters that are similar to you, like people are not like in groups are not monoliths, right?
Mm,
And so I do I do think a lot of times the emphasis gets put on as though we're talking to like an exclusively white audience because
yeah.
a lot of times we are. And also what a consultant can do is to help also walk you through intra group
Mm-hmm.
dynamics. And so it's one thing to be black, but if you are writing someone who is West African and you are USian, then like there are going to be a lot of differences, and that can
Mm-hmm.
be really hard to keep like in line, even if you do have connections to your heritage and things. And so sensitivity consultants can be really helpful in that regard too, to just keep an eye on things and keep things on the path that you want them to be. Because as someone who also writes, like there are so many details you're keeping in your head, and a sensitivity consultant can really come in and be that person to help you hold all of that and keep those things in mind. Because doing it alone, is it possible? Yes. If you don't have to though, then don't.
Don't go it alone. Take a sensitivity reader with you.
Yeah.
I will also add, I couldn't help myself. It was right there. It's real early for me. I'm extra punchy, y'all. I'm sorry. I will also add though, the projects that I've worked on where it's been with fellow South Asian authors and so on and so forth have been some of my favorite. Oh my goodness, they have been so fun and so exciting and so refreshing. So definitely, if you don't have to go it alone, don't. You'll make your sensitivity reader's day. I'm telling you, we're gonna be so thrilled.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know we've touched on this next question a little bit while we were talking about what a sensitivity consultant is. So I do want to bring it up just in case anyone has anything additional to add. But I am positioning this question at Cassandra. How is consulting for games different from consulting from other types of media like novels or comics?
So for honestly, I feel as though games are harder to change
Mm,
in
Mm,
a lot of ways, because when you work with games, there are so many departments and so many moving pieces. And comics have several moving pieces as well. And I think novels and like textbooks are maybe I think textbooks might be the easiest because they are segmented already. But like with games, if there's something that you find that is massively wrong, not only might you need to change the narrative, but with games, you may need to change the animation, the
mm.
narrative, the coding, the voice acting. There are so many additional levels to games when consulting. And I think that also is why if someone is writing a novel and they bring me in at the end, it's like, okay, not the best, but we can take a look. With a game, especially a video game,
Yeah.
when someone brings me in at the end, I'm very cautious and very wary because it kind of that reeks of looking for a rubber stamp as because or as an afterthought, because you really want someone to come in before you've coded everything, before you've animated everything, and before you've had whatever voice actors you're going to have, so that you have the best chance of not having to redo your whole game. So I think that's the biggest difference. Is I think feedback on games, especially if you're brought in towards the end, is a lot harder to get implemented than other forms of media,
And I
in
think
my
as well,
experience.
I think you're absolutely right there. And also, games, both video games and tabletop games, they're interactive mediums, right? So there is only so much that is in the creator's control as well. And that's, for me, that means that you have to try to be extra careful, because people are going to take your game, what you've written and created and developed, and run with it, potentially. And so you have to try and do your best to look forward and think, what are the potential pitfalls in each direction, and are there ways that we can redirect? So I think that's also a difference. Whereas with a novel, it's kind of the end product is text on a page, and the person can interpret it, but it's not, how to put it, they're experiencing an art product that has been presented to them wholesale, I guess. Whereas with a tabletop game or a video game, the player is also part of the process, and it only becomes like a full piece when the player is involved. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does, actually. And I totally agree. Also, I challenge people to consider that any type of video game can have a sensitivity reader.
Oh yeah.
It is definitely easier when you have a simpler game. If it's a visual novel or something that is a lot simpler in terms of its graphics, in terms of its artwork, in terms of the coding that goes into it and the level of branching pads, it's definitely a little easier to get in there and make those changes. But again, especially with video games, we do encourage people to get in as early as possible, get in at that conceptual phase. That's really, really going to help you out, because we're able to help you steer the ship, and just from the jump, you're able to give your artists, your writers, the advice that they need, the guidelines that they need in order to move forward with the most chance of success and the least likelihood of needing to adjust things as they go along. I've even, one fun fact, I actually got to work with Jackbox games. So like genuinely any video game can be sensitivity read. It doesn't even have to be a story, because again, even in a Jackbox game situation, the audience participation does make for the experience. And so it is also interesting as a sensitivity reader, because it is a bit like 4D chess. Like, we're thinking about the project in a slightly different way, because we're also having to anticipate what a player might say, right? And that's kind of also another benefit of having a sensitivity reader, is because we are an outside perspective, we kind of get to sit there and be like, okay, well, as a player, what would I do? What does this look like? And then we kind of take that and then we go, okay, well, as a sensitivity reader, what do I think about that? And it's kind of, there's a lot that we can do as we process through it in our brains that doesn't necessarily show when we give the feedback, but there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of my
Absolutely.
favorite.
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think one of my favorite examples of really well done sensitivity consulting is Hellblade, because they not only had a lot of consultants, because you can have more than one, especially if you have various topics you are looking at. It's especially if it's in budget, like put it in your budget to have more than one person, because again, tokenization is not the same as sensitivity.
Yeah.
And so they had multiple consultants, and they made sure they weren't just talking to a mental health professional. They got multiple people who experience voice hearing to come and consult on the game and have veto power over things. So making sure to listen to your consultants and empower them in that way is really important. And I think that especially with video games, that means you have to bring them in really early, because if they're able to say, no, that would be terrible, that would, contribute to stereotypes, that has to be done early in the conceptualization. They have to have multiple passes, because they have to look at the narrative. They have to look at the early stages of the game. They have to be able to hear the audio for the game and go pass after pass after pass. And I think that game did it so well, that that's kind of one of my gold standard games for consulting work.
I think I also want to touch on, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna jump on one thing real quick, super quick, and then I'm gonna hand the mic over to Helen. I do want to touch on the fact that it is not just the art and the writing, but also the sound design, which is one thing that Cassie mentioned there that I really wanted to touch on. Your sound design in a video game can be a huge part of that experience, right? Anything that that the player gets to experience, the writing, the art, the audio, the visuals, all of that makes up that experience. All of it can be sensitivity read. And I've definitely had to sensitivity read for various levels of all of that in various games. So all of it is within that scope. All of it can be supported. So definitely ask your sensitivity reader plenty of questions. We're happy to help. Go ahead, Helen.
Oh, I was just going to say that I would probably go even further than just talk about like getting consultants or advice on early. And like, if you're going to make or explore a character or a theme that you haven't, consider adding someone with that experience to your writing team from the get-go. And that can be an easy way of like avoiding lots of pitfalls there. And then also, Leona, you reminded me in terms of audio. So I think I mentioned that I work on some podcasts, and there are like specific. It's one of those things where people think, well, why would you do sensitivity reading for a podcast? But there are things like gunfire. There are things like misophonia. There are anything that like a person can talk about. You can end up maybe needing like content warnings for, trying to make sure that it's represented properly and fairly and things like that. So I've been involved in like creating content warnings for some really interesting sound effects. My favorite is worms so far.
I sensitivity read a horror podcast, so I feel you on that one. And those content warnings were so fun to come up with. Believe it or not, I've actually also sensitivity read a live stream, like actual plays and other live streams, and just supporting them in the background. Yeah, supporting them in the background behind the scenes in that preparation process, being present in the chat to support the chat. Like it was a really intense moment in an actual play specifically, but it was something that, folks behind the scenes were talking to me. There was a meeting beforehand. I was there in the chat live. It was such a cool experience to sensitivity read something that was being broadcast live. So we're really trying to like push the idea of like anything can be sensitivity read. Like just consider the possibilities and be like, can that be sensitivity read? Yes, that is the answer.
Yeah.
So, Helen, I want to pose this next question to you, since we are talking about games. Do you have any advice for game developers with a smaller budget who still want to hire a sensitivity consultant?
Actually, I've been talking with someone who's making a game recently, and they're like a small indie developer. And one of the ways that you can, depending on the size of the project, something that you can do is you can return to bartering. If you have skills and I have skills, we can swap them. I have done things where I've said, okay, I will do this much sensitivity reading for you, and you can spend the equal number of hours doing an illustration for me or something like that. That can be something that I think most of us are open to. I would also say that it's useful to, if you do have a budget, try to budget in, I would say, probably 2 passes, like one for like initial drafts and like concepts and things like that, and then one for looking at it later on. But in general, in my experience, most of us will be reasonably flexible if there's a good reason to be. Like I also had someone reach out who's a student, and I was like, right, students famously some of the most like how should we put it? So the least wealthy, one of the least wealthy parts of society. So I was like, okay, I will do you a discount because you are studying. And to be fair, I think that goes for almost all mediums. I don't know what the other two of you think. Like Leona, you have like a full like consultancy business. I don't know if you've come up with any like cool workarounds as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us will have a sliding scale, and I definitely do. I have a sliding scale. Sometimes I'll just straight up offer people a flat rate. I'll be like, "Cool, your whole project for this much." How about that? Because we get it.
Mm.
At the end of the day, we want to make this accessible, financially viable. And I, especially if it's a project that speaks to me, I'm not opposed to just like straight up pulling out a flat rate, making it super easy on you and being like, cool, here's your flat rate, boom, done. I'm on, flat rate, sliding scale. If it's for charity, I've done it for free before. It's not often a thing that I do, but it was for charity, so I felt okay about it. But there's a range of different options. Each sensitivity reader and consultant is going to have various solutions that work for them and that meet their needs. So I always tell people that the number one thing that you can do if you are thinking about getting a sensitivity consultant is come talk to them. Come talk to us, and we will be happy to let you know what we can accommodate, how we can accommodate, how to best do your shenanigans. If the one thing that I can drive home today, the biggest thing that I can drive home is come talk to us. If you have questions, come talk to us. If you're
Yeah.
not sure when to bring us in, come talk to us. If you're not sure if you can afford it, come talk to us. That is the one thing that I want you to remember. Come talk to us. We can probably find a way to make it work. And if for some reason it's just super duper not within, a feasible scope, then maybe we can come to a solution where it's like, okay, I can't look at your whole video game, but I can look at these particular scenes that you said you were worried about, and we can work something out there, right? So your sensitivity readers are probably going to be very solution oriented, because at the end of the day, we do really care about the work as well. And we care about making our folks happy. So we're going to help you find a solution. Come talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use an equity pricing model. So like whenever I am doing work for like EA, that's my full rate. That's like
Yep.
that's like $400-500 an hour. And like meetings also are pay like that is the full works. And that allows me to then, when a student comes along, to either do it pro bono or do it bartering or somehow without putting at risk my ability to stay housed, right? And so my biggest thing for folks is come with an idea of what you can offer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you don't know, like, come hat in hand and ask. When you're doing Kickstarter and things, as part of your market research, ask how much the services cost and or how much of your budget you're willing to put towards this, because at least that way there's a place to start from, to start negotiation from. What I've run into is, especially indie devs and smaller devs, they will come and they'll be like, hey, we'd love a consultant. How much do you cost? Like, how much would this cost? And I tell them, and then they disappear because it's sticker shock or what have you. So also negotiate.
Yeah.
Like, I know that
We're open to it.
yeah, I know that, because if the price is the price, someone will tell you. But for someone like me, if you just ask how much it costs and you've given me no information, you haven't told me your budget, you've given me no word count, no panel count, no page count, nothing like that, then you're either going to get back an email that is just all of those questions in a line, or you're going to get back what I charge as a full rate, with the expectation that like you will talk to me, versus what I've gotten sometimes is like, oh, well, we can't afford that, we're bye. And it's like,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to say, hey, is this negotiable? We like, this is our situation. Like, more information is better, because as someone who does equity, like, I expect folks to be able to tell me what's happening and communicate.
Yeah.
And so if you just say, hey, what's your fee? I'm going to tell you my fee. But
We're gonna tell you the EA rate.
like, I'm gonna say, yeah, like, for like, if you're like, hey, I have a game that's coming out, we've done a Kickstarter, what's your fee? Well, you've told me you have money, and you've told me that you are doing this game commercially, which means you're going to make money from it. I'm going to give you my full rate. That's going to be very different if you're like, hey, we're a small indie dev. This is a passion project. We're looking to do this. We have $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have something to go off of.
Also, hey, if you're doing a Kickstarter, you can, in fact, budget in your sensitivity reader's fees from the jump. You can, again, get your sensitivity reader in the door early, factor for them, right?
And
put
tell
that in your
people.
Kickstarter. And tell people, promote the fact that you're going to have this sensitivity reader. We'll promote it as well. We're going to put that on our social and be like, hey, look at this amazing project that's like, you know, they're going to have me, they're Kickstarting right now. I get to work with them on it. Come help make it possible. It's good business. That is good business. When you can have us in from the jump, we can then negotiate a rate that's going to work for us. And we believe in you. We believe in your project. We know you're going to make, you know, your Kickstarter go banana balls. We have faith in you. We know you can do it. We have nothing but faith. So if you can negotiate a price with us from the jump, then you don't even have to worry about it because you've already factored in for us. And that way, you know, things are just so much smoother, especially with a Kickstarter. You're in a great place to negotiate in advance. So that is also a big pro tip there. But yes, a lot of us do have not only sliding scales, but also that kind of equity style where it's like we have our EA rate and then we also have friends and family, another, you know, like it slowly goes down. So just like tell us where you're at and give us information and don't vanish. We're so happy to negotiate. And I'm always so scared in my emails to be like, I swear I can negotiate without sounding like I'm begging for work.
Yeah.
It is a tough line to be like, I'm gonna give you this number because you've asked for the number, but please don't be scared. Like we can negotiate. Don't run away when you hear it, you know? So please don't hesitate to negotiate. It is a conversation that we want you to have with us.
Yeah. I think also
Negotiation. Oh, sorry.
No, please go on. Like, we've only covered like 2 questions.
We could be here for 3 hours. Negotiation.
We genuinely, as a group, could talk about sensitivity reading for a straight 12 hours. I know we could.
Yes.
Yeah. Easily turn into those 12-hour YouTube videos. It's like, go make yourself a snack, get comfy. This is our video essay now. But yes, negotiation is key. And I know I'm moderating, but I did want to add in the subject of Kickstarters, don't make your sensitivity reader consultant a stretch goal. I think I've only seen that once, but that's a terrible idea. And
it hurts, man. We're people too.
You will not get kickstarted because the public will lambast you. Don't make that a stretch goal, fam. Put that just in the like critical things to pay for goal. You don't want safety to be secondary.
Yeah.
That's free PR advice during during
yeah, because it's not just like the safety of your readers or your players or whatever. It's like safety of your business and like your PR. Like if you know that there's something in your project that might that you need help with, and you say, okay, but we're not going to get this help until this certain point, that's probably a problem.
Honestly, the way I just explain sensitivity reading sometimes is it is really your insurance policy because sometimes you don't see the things that are in your game. And it really is your insurance policy. You pay a sensitivity reader to save yourself a world of headache, to save yourself from a PR nightmare where you're going to have to either spend hours agonizing over social media or pay somebody else to do it big money. Save yourself from having to redo your game, do a whole bunch of other work. You can save yourself so much headache, just like an insurance policy. My parents were both insurance advisors. Can you tell? And it's just part of I'm part of the family. What can I say? But you can save yourself a lot of headache by just having a sensitivity consultant on board on your project. You'll be so glad you did. It'll save you so much heartache.
And I think also that perfectly dovetails right into the question I was going to ask you, Leona, which is why is it important to hire a sensitivity consultant and what are the benefits? So
that's so funny. Here we are. Why should you hire one? Because we are your insurance policy. We are not your rubber stamp, but we are your insurance policy. We will help you sleep better at night. Absolutely. Like I said, we are going to look for things that you otherwise maybe didn't consider. When you're deep in the heart of your project, there's going to be things that you don't necessarily always see. We're here to help you with that. We are definitely also here to look at the player perspective, all of those little details. And yeah, I think that's one of the biggest benefits is we're going to be able to look at things in a perspective that you didn't have. We're like a supportive little outside person that gets to cheer you on and make sure that your product, your game, whatever it is that you're making, is going to be the best, the most shiniest version of it that it can possibly be. And I've had so many moments where I've been in a call with clients and I've seen that light bulb of like, oh, I never thought about that. Or I've seen a project from conceptual to what it looks like as a finished product and the absolute transformation that it's been on. And it is so, so rewarding and so, so beneficial. So yeah, I'll leave it there. I'm going to let the other two tell us more.
Yeah, to go off of the insurance policy metaphor, it's also important to like hiring is great. Listening to us is the next step.
Yeah.
You can do things to void your insurance policy. Just because you hired a sensitivity consultant and were listed as the sensitivity consultant in the credits doesn't mean that you listened to us. And if you void the policy, you will still get lambasted for whatever that thing that we told you not to do that you did anyway, and then everyone is upset about. Like, just because you bought the policy, you do actually have to follow the steps. And so I think that one of the benefits of hiring and listening to your sensitivity consultant is that you cut down on that significantly. Like there are so many games that I love, and I'm going to try not to call anyone out right now. But it's very clear they haven't listened to some feedback about some of the audio design or some of the characterizations. And having the consultant is not the same as listening. And so it's important to hire and to listen early and often because you want the best game you can have, and you want a game that has staying power. One of the reasons that, now granted, there are some really problematic games that have staying power, but one of the reasons that certain games are so beloved and stay beloved is because you don't get nostalgia ick from them in the same way. Like it doesn't have to become an ironic like because there's so many problematic elements in hindsight. And so like that benefit of knowing that you did the work is also a reward. Now, things may not always be perfect, though. I mean, perfect doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
But it still gives you that opportunity.
I have to say, I've had some contracts where I've actively written in there, hey, first of all, I expect you to give me credit. If you don't listen to me, I will ask for my credit to be revoked, please, because I don't want my name associated with something where you didn't listen to me. And I will probably post on social media if someone goes, hey, Leona, I saw you worked on this project. Why is it janky? And I will straight up tell them they didn't listen to me. So those are some things that I have been known to do to put into the contract and the paperwork is things like that. So be aware, make sure you follow the rules of the insurance policy. We are here to support, but if you don't listen, we can't save you.
It's a really good point. I've got something in my contract actually that's it's not even about like the idea of avoiding it. It's just this is only my opinion. And so hiring me is not going to prevent bad feedback. Like I am not a I can't see
we are not an end all be all. We cannot anticipate everybody. It is the era of the internet. No matter what you do, no matter how many sensitivity readers you hire, there is going to be that one person who jumps off the deep end and goes, oh my God, how dare you? I remember, oh my gosh, which game was it? Which big game was it that came out and everyone was in a kerfuffle because they were like, pronouns for my character? God forbid. You know,
that's been several games.
Oh God, it's in several at this point. People are going to get upset no matter what, right?
Yeah.
The point is, though, is the right kind of upset, right? It is also is that a relevant level of upset? Or are you about to get canceled and blackballed? You know, that is the thing that we're trying to prevent here. We're not guaranteeing we're going to be perfect. None of us are monoliths. None of our cultures are monoliths. None of our sensitivity consulting is monoliths. We are not going to be able to account for every little thing, but we are going to be able to account for big glaring things that are going to give you a lot of heartache.
That's actually a really good point there, Leona, in terms of what I often say to people is that what I'm trying to do is prevent harm, and offense doesn't come into it, because a person can be offended by anything. There are games that I love that I'm sure lots of people would be offended by, but that doesn't mean that I have done anything to them or that the creators have done anything to them. And something that I'm hearing, and I think that I want to repeat like clearly, is that as sensitivity readers, we want you to have the best game possible as well. Like we're not here as a barrier or a stumbling block. We want to make sure that what you're creating has the effect that you want it to have. Also, I'm trying to remember who said this. I think it was Hamza Jahanzeb, who's another British sensitivity reader. He said something like, "We're here to prevent a molehill from becoming a mountain."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it as well.
I think also, Helen, what you just said helps us just make our way to our final question of this panel, which is, and I'm pointing this at Cassandra for this final question. What is one piece of advice you could give to game developers who may be working with sensitivity consultants now or in the future?
A lot of good advice has already been given, so I am going to go with make sure that you know your why and what you are and are not willing to defend. And that goes to what we were just talking about, of there is a level of people are going to get mad at you for doing the right thing, and people are going to get mad at you for doing the wrong thing, and everything in between. So which things can you live with and do you want? Because it is very different for people to get mad at you because you used pronouns and you represented women and trans people in your game versus people getting mad at you because you were racist and you fridged your gay, like you killed your gays, right? These are two very different kinds of people being upset. So know what your values as a dev are.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, it may not work out so well trying to work with a sensitivity consultant because they're going to be over on this end of the spectrum.
Yeah, definitely. Helen, I think we've got your one piece of advice. So if it's okay, I think we'll go to Leona for her one piece of advice.
Sure.
My one piece of advice is very straightforward. Come talk to us. If you've listened to this whole panel and you're sitting here and you're going, I don't know, man, I'm just trying to make a cool game. This is so overwhelming. Just come talk to us. If you're like, I don't know, man, I'd love to hire a sensitivity consultant, but man, I don't know about the budget. Come talk to us. The one biggest thing I want you to take away from this, come talk to us. If you're like, well, I need a sensitivity consultant, but none of the people that are on my screen are for the culture that I need a sensitivity consultant for, come talk to us. We've got referrals for you. Whatever your question is, no matter how big or small, please do not hesitate. Come talk to us. We are so happy to help and support and to help guide you on the right path. Come talk to us, please.
Yeah. Yeah, because we know each other and we talk to each other. We can probably pass you on to someone else.
For sure. And if you're doing bad, we gossip about you too. We all talk to each other. If you decide to run the gamut of asking each of us our prices, we will know because we talk to each other behind the scenes. Don't expect us to all be isolated little icebergs. No, all of your sensitivity community talks to each other. Be wary of that. Just be a little mindful that we are each other's colleagues and supporters, and we will come talk to each other as well. So you should come talk to us first.
Yes, I think that extra bit of secret advice from Leona is really helpful. But also, don't be scared. We all want to help. We all want to support you. Listen to the consultant, try to incorporate our advice. I know also that there are many of you who want to get us early on in the process in games, and maybe you're not getting that buy-in from higher ups. I know that happens. We see you, we appreciate you, we love you. We know you're doing your best. Maybe show the higher up this panel when it comes out. And maybe it'll help with things. Sometimes people are visual learners, and so they need a little example just to know what's going on. But as we wrap up here and conclude, I want to thank my amazing panelists for joining me today. Thank you to everyone in the audience for listening, for watching, or if you have it podcast style in another tab, that is entirely valid. We all do that at some point. You still get the information. So just real quick to close out, we'll just go back around and, remind everyone who we are and where you can find us. I'm Basil. My pronouns are he, they, z. You can find me on the internet as @Kobanya, Kobanya. I'm on Blue Sky, Pillow Fort, Tumblr. I'm not on the terrible site anymore. I still have an account, but I don't use it. And I'm also on Discord under that same handle. And you can find me pretty much reviewing anything, tabletop games, comics, video games. Happy to look at pretty much anything. And we'll do this in opposite order. So we'll go next to Helen.
Okay. So yeah, I'm Helen Gould. You can find me on Blue Sky at Helen R, which is Helen and then ARGH, like a scream. And then you can find my professional website at hgwriting.co.uk.
And you can find me, I'm hard to find, but Blue Sky intersections CCH or Instagram intersections LLC. And my website is i-cch.com. And you can email me to hire me that way.
And that leaves me. Once again, I'm Leona Neelam Maple. You can find me all over the internet at the Leona Maple, especially Blue Sky, Instagram. I do have the leonamaple.card.co if you're looking for a static website, but most importantly, theleonamaple@gmail.com if you want to email me, if you'd like to work with Maple Intersectionality Consulting, or just come talk to me. Wink, wink.
Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us, and we hope you have a great time at the Game Devs of Color Expo. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for that panel. And also the good energy. Like, talking about cultural sensitivity and finding the ways to make our games better, it's a good thing. I think it's something we should look forward to and be excited about. And of course, it comes with some vulnerability, some sensitivity, as we have to address some of our personal biases, make changes to things that we felt confident about. But that's what life is about, and that's how we build stronger connections with others. And don't we want to have more opportunities for people to feel resonance and excitement when they play the games we make? So I hope listening to this panel inspired you, or might inspire somebody that you could speak to go ahead and look into some sensitivity consulting. If you'd like to catch up with our panelists, you can find them on Blue Sky. You can find Basil at Kobanya. You can find Cassandra at Intersections CCH. You can find Leona at the Leona Maple. And you can find Helen at Helen ARGH. Thanks again for the panel.